Americans often think that Italians are rude. Honestly, I think a lot of the time we simply don't understand the culture we walked into. I'm sitting in Mantova, Italy, right now at a cafe, a pasticceria, and it's called Scaravelli. And just sitting here for the morning, you start noticing how different places function compared to other places in the United States. First of all, this is not simple system how they do things here. You stand at the counter to order the cafe, you pay for the pastry, you eat it there, you take it away, but then there's also table service. And sometimes they specify it and sometimes they don't. And the prices change depending upon where you choose your experience. If you walk up to the espresso counter, drink your coffee standing, and leave, that's one price. But if you sit down in the piazza, like I'm doing right here, someone will come to the table, will serve you, and that's another price in the menu. So sometimes you look at the prices that come up in the menu and you say, well, that's not what the price was behind the counter. So what's interesting to watch is tourists trying to figure out the flow. This morning there was a German couple behind me who thought that they had ordered cappuccino, and the husband did. But when the cappuccino came for the wife and she stirred it, she kept looking at it because the foam was so thick she couldn't even see that there was much coffee in it underneath. Then I had another gal, and honestly, she ordered a white milk steamed and froth. And when it came, there was no coffee in it because that's what she had ordered. And honestly, because nobody did anything wrong, it's just the coffee culture is different here. Then another person walked up to the counter directly to order, but the staff already knew that person was going to sit down with the larger group outside. So immediately, in their limited English, the staff redirected that person to go away from the counter and go sit down for service. And often it's a culture of hand gestures, but it's also a culture of limited language on their behalf as well as the English speaking. And you can see the frustration in that moment between Americans because they're used to deciding for themselves what they want, how they're going to order. They're used to one price, not two different situations. And the staff is managing the flow here the way they're supposed to. And honestly, the more time I spend in Italy, the more I realize something important. Italy expects you to adapt to the environment, not the environment to adapt to you. And that couldn't be said more true than what we have here. There's a very different mindset from the United States. The customer in America, customer service often revolves around maximizing customer service and flexibility. But in Italy, where cafes operate more running around structure, efficiency, social routines, it doesn't work that way. And the expectation is that you're paying attention, you, the tourist. You observe, you watch other people before doing things, you understand the flow, you learn the culture. And that's part of being a guest and in another country for how they do things. Even the receipt reflects that system. When you bring the ticket to the table, it may have items that are listed that don't even have prices on them. And Americans find that very stressful. So you've got to pay attention because they've got their little book here and the prices are in this book, but every single business is different, and review the pricing and understand the structure. That requires attentiveness. And honestly, I think something is healthy about that because we're a guest in their country. Because the more I watch places like this, the more I realize cafes are not only about coffees and pastry. They are part of daily life, socializing, relationships, and connection. People stop by here every day. Older Italians come out. People interact. They stand at the counter. They talk. They see familiar faces. They sit down together. But there's a premium for sitting down and occupying because space is very limited here. And I honestly think environments like this helps us to prevent that kind of isolation that has become very common in the United States. Not because Italy is perfect. It's not. For sure, it is not. But because daily life here requires human interaction. And after enough years of coming back to Italy, you start realizing that this might be one of the biggest cultural differences of all.